You promised me, you said we would grow old together. You said this house, this land, and that never break us. You said we would grow old together. And now look what they're doing to me. Yeah, but they want to throw me out like I meant nothing. Like I was never your wife. Like I never loved you. Was loved no de my fingers. Did I strike that done cut it go small. Did that shit I like it and do it I got you.
Woye woye me wo yo.
The dust in the compound never seemed to settle. It only clung to the dampness of Elara's skin, mixing with the salt of her silent tales. For 3 days, she had sat on a low wooden stool, her scalp feeling raw and exposed after the village elders had shorn her hair, a ritual meant to signify her transition from a wife to a shadow. She wore a coarse black wrap that felt like sandpaper against her grief. Around her, the rhythmic, low-throated dirges of the village women rose and fell like a tide. But Elara felt stranded on a silent island. The silence broke, not with comfort, but with the heavy thud of Ngozi's walking stick. Her mother-in-law stood before her, flanked by 2 men from the extended family. Men Elara hadn't seen in years. Men who hadn't helped pay for her husband's medicine, or held his hand as his breath grew shallow. "The earth is still soft over my son's grave, Elara," Ngozi said, her voice dry and brittle as dead leaves. "But the law of our fathers is hard. It is time to discuss the transition." Elara didn't look up. She watched the line of ants carrying crumbs near her bare feet. "I am still mourning, Mama. My heart is the dirt you speak of. Your heart does not pay for the roof over your head." Ngozi snapped, her patience thin. "This house, the cocoa farm by the stream, the goats, they belong to the bloodline. And you, Elara, are a visitor whose visa expired with my son's last breath." Finally, Elara lifted her head. Her eyes weren't wet, they were searing. "I spent 20 years tilling that farm. I carried his children. I nursed him when his lungs turned to ash, while these men of the bloodline were away in the city chasing shadows. Where were they then?" Ngozi didn't flinch. She simply signaled to the men, "Clear the room, take the trunks. If she wants to cry, let her cry to the wind. She has no seat at this table anymore." Later that afternoon, Elara stood in the village square beneath the ancient Iroko tree. The sun beat down unmercifully as she faced Chief Odu. A small crowd had gathered, their whispers like the buzzing of flies. "Elara," the chief began, leaning back in his carved chair. "Tradition is the bone that keeps this village standing. Your husband died without a written will. In our custom, the brother inherits." "The brother who hasn't visited in a decade." Elara's voice rang out, clear and sharp. "The brother who is already negotiating with factory developers to pave over our ancestors' graves." "It is not my place to question a man's use of his inheritance," the chief replied coldly. "Then what is my inheritance?" Elara stepped forward, ignoring the gasps of the elders. "The dust, the shame of being discarded like a broken pot. I am not asking for a favor, chief. I am asking for the right to exist in the home I built with my own sweat." The crowd murmured. Some women looked away, their faces etched with a secret, shared fear. Others whispered about her arrogance, a word often used for a woman who refuses to be erased. As dusk painted the sky in bruised purples and oranges, Elara walked to the edge of the cocoa farm. She ran her fingers over a scar on a tree trunk, a mark she and her husband had carved to measure the height of their first son. "Mama." She turned to see Obina, her eldest. He looked small, despite his height, clutching a bundle of her clothes. His eyes were red-rimmed. "Uncle says we have to leave by tomorrow morning," Obina whispered. He said I could stay if I worked for him. but you have to go back to your father's village. Elara looked at her son, the boy she had raised to be a man. And what did you say, Obinna? What can I do? He cried softly. I am one man. They have the elders. They have the law. Elara took the bundle from him, but she didn't look defeated. A cold, hard resolve had replaced her grief. They have the old law, Obinna. But they forgot one thing. A widow's cry isn't just a sound of sorrow. It's a warning. She turned and began walking back toward the house, her black wrap flowing behind her like a battle flag. Go back and tell them, she called over her shoulder. I am not leaving. If they want this land, they will have to bury me next to your father. And I don't think this village is ready for two ghosts haunting the same house. The cry of the widow was no longer a lament. It was a declaration of war.